In this video, I'm going to talk about one of the polymers of life, proteins. So proteins have a bunch of different functions in the human body. One of the most common ones is that they form your hair, your nails, and your muscles. They are all different types of protein, but they are all protein. They also help to defend against foreign bacteria in your blood. Okay, these are called antibodies. They're part of your immune system and they try to help you or try to prevent you from getting sick. Another function is that they speed up chemical reactions within your body. Really, without proteins to do this function, you wouldn't be able to digest a meal for days. It would take that much time, but because proteins are able to speed up those chemical reactions that it takes to break down a meal, you are able to digest it in just a couple of hours. The monomer of a protein is an amino acid, and there are 20 amino acids total. And kind of like how we can put different letters of the alphabet together to make different words, you can put different sequences of amino acids together to make different proteins. Okay? Now, an amino acid has a couple of different parts to it. So we always start with a carbon located in the center. Attached to that carbon are three groups that are the same for all 20 amino acids. The first is just a hydrogen. It's just chilling off of one side of the carbon. Off of another side, we have something called an amino group, hence where we get the name amino acids. It's from the amino group. The other part that is the same for all the amino acids is called the carboxyl group. Another term for carboxyl is carboxylic acid, which is where we get the acid portion of amino acid. And this is also the same, it's on every single amino acid. And then off of the other side, and this is the part that's unique to each amino acid, is a side chain. And it's represented with an R because there isn't an element that is symbolized by R. So R is kind of like X in an algebraic equation. It's a variable that you can change. So R is going to differ depending on what amino acid it is. Okay, so one of the amino acids is called histidine. All the histidine molecules are going to have the same side chain. However, no other amino acid, like their serine and valine, those other amino acids are not going to have the same side chain. Okay, so really all you need to know about amino acids is that the part that differentiates between the different types of amino acids is something called a side chain. Okay, whatever the side chain is will determine which of the 20 you are looking at. Now, the shape of a protein is super duper important. Okay, a normal protein that is functioning is going to have a very specific shape. If that protein were to lose its shape, which is also known as denaturing, it is going to stop working. If we can get that denatured protein to regain its shape, its very specific shape, it can start working again. The way that a protein can become denatured, we can have a change in heat, especially if the heat is increased. So that is why really high temperatures, like when you're running really high fevers, why it's so dangerous, because it is starting to denature the proteins within your body, which can cause you to die. You can increase the pH or change the pH of the environment the protein is in, which means that if you put a protein into a really acidic environment, that can also denature the proteins. It's kind of like what happens when you pour lemon juice or vinegar into milk, right? If you've ever done that, pour it in and just let it sit, it kind of starts to curdle because the proteins are starting to denature. The protein shape is really important in order for proteins to function correctly. Some examples of proteins that you might have heard of are enzymes. Enzymes are those proteins that speed up chemical reactions. They especially help us to digest food in our digestive tract. Antibodies, like I mentioned before, antibodies are really important to help fight off infections. Hemoglobin is the protein found in your red blood cells, and it's actually the reason why your blood is red. It helps to carry oxygen throughout your body using your bloodstream. Collagen is a really important protein for the elasticity of your skin. It also helps to keep your joints really healthy. And the last one is keratin, which is what makes up your nails. Okay, so those are all examples of proteins that are found in the human body. And that's it for proteins.